All right, this is the recording of a mastermind I did with Jason Pantana, co-founder of AIM, the AI Marketing Academy for Real Estate Agents. Probably one of the best resource tools that I know of. Jason goes in a little really deep on this to show you some of the highest and best uses that agents are doing right now at a little bit higher level. And then towards the end, he actually goes in and shows you and basically creates a custom GPT at the end that is a format. Not only can you use that custom GPT, but you can format this in a way that you can utilize that knowledge to build your own. So I know this is going to be helpful. If you want more details about the custom GPT and all the language that he saves there at the end, I'll have it down below in a link. That'll also get you an invitation to all the masterminds that I do on a weekly basis. So let's get to it.
Started then. Let's see. All right. Morning, everybody. This is going to be a great mastermind time. We literally have who I believe is, especially as far as real estate, is one of the preeminent minds as far as AI. And one of the things I love about my friend Jason is that he is probably more obsessed than I am, which is hard to say, with helping agents market their businesses in a way. And AI has really been gas on his fire. I mean, this last year, some of the things that Jason has done and the way that he has led the industry as far as with his ideas and sharing and just the amount of effort he puts in to just prepare all of us to do our businesses better has just been phenomenal. So without further ado, Jason, and if you don't mind, just kind of kick it off with kind of what you're seeing AI-wise out there. And then let's just go into some things that maybe some practical things that they can put to work immediately.
Yeah, so I'll telescope this in really fast. I'll go super broad, and then I'm going to go really, really granular very quickly. So it's going to be fast. I think we talked about this when we did a podcast together. We talked about when you think about what generative AI is, AI from a marketing standpoint produces outputs. You're the input, it applies its magic, and it produces an output. And I often talk about this, that it's a formula. It's U times AI. AI is a force multiplier of U. It's exponential returns on your marketing investment, on your time, on your efforts, on your skill, etc. When you think about the outputs AI produces, this is like my framework. I look at AI through words, images, sounds, and videos. I go looking for where can AI enhance words, images, sounds, and videos? Because what that does is it frames for me the raw materials of modern marketing. I know if the AI can have an influence with words, images, sounds, or videos, I can apply it to some aspect of marketing, whether it's postcards, emails, ads, social media, whatever it is. They all consist of words, images, sounds, and videos. And so that's sort of my I guess you would call it my rose-colored glasses or whatever I wear to filter what I want to see with AI. Because there's a lot of stuff beyond that that's a little bit, maybe we don't need to go there. There's disputes behind which executives leaving OpenAI, and I don't really let myself get too bogged down in those things. I'm really looking at what the tools can do, who's pushing ahead, who's not, etc. Another point I'm trying to be mindful of more and more is AI is becoming more and more popular. But it's kind of like, think about like a town like Dallas and Oklahoma City and all the fill-in that happens between those two cities. And eventually it's going to be one giant blob of it's Oklahoma and Dallas. You oftentimes see these cities where it fills in between. And I think that's my visualization for where I think tools are going. So whenever whenever Claude releases their MCPs, which I want to get into today, what do you see ChatGPT doing? They launch connectors. And so they're going to all sort of be in an arms race for features. And what I want to be mindful of is who are you invested with, in the sense of this can be like streaming television where I'm paying for Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, all the stuff and the junk we pay for. And they all kind of have the same shows half the time, but Paramount has this one show that you want to watch. And so you really do have to watch your budget. And so I try to be mindful of, I want to always direct people into what is the best tool for the job, but also how much money are you spending? It's sort of a both and. One more little thought before I dive into what I'm actually seeing. We were at Home Depot my wife wanted a flat top grill, like a Blackstone or blacktop, whatever they're called, grills. My wife is a far better cook and griller than I am. It's not my skill set. And we were there, and this guy's talking to us, and he keeps trying to say, so you don't need to buy all that stuff. They're charging too much for that. You can just go on Amazon and get this stuff. You don't need all that stuff. But I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm here and I want the experience. I want what's best. And so what I want to be mindful of when I'm directing folks in terms of AI is both balancing what does the job best, but also are we spending money that isn't necessary? Jimmy, does that make sense? Just where I'm coming from, trying to find that balance. trying to find the
Yeah,
balance.
completely. Yeah, and listen,
Okay.
Jason, I mentioned this. I didn't get a chance to mention this when I first did the first introduction, but this is one of the things that I really appreciate too. Is obviously since you and I last talked, and obviously I became a member of the AI Marketing Academy that you're doing. It's amazing how you've broken that down for me, where it's like everything is broken down. Where this is kind of for this is for that.
Well,
Do
we're
you really
actually going to
need this?
level up on that. So
Okay.
we're doing something cool in the background. I'll show you this, then I want to get to your question if I could.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask request to share if I could.
Yeah, I got you.
So this is I'm getting my developer and I are working on this project. This tools little section in the resources is going to become its own section on the main page. And what we did is I found it really cumbersome to keep all these up to date because we divide the tools into AI tools for web development, for marketing automation, for online search, for editing videos. We try to divide it by the task of the AIs, but it was so hard to go into each respective page and then edit it. So what we did is we created code where I keep a spreadsheet up to date. And then we had Claude write the code to create app scripts where if I update my spreadsheet, it's automatically updating these web pages. So they stay in sync all the time with what I think is awesome. Oh, I'm not sharing, am I? Thanks. Sorry, I looked at the
Now you
comments.
are.
Now I
Yeah.
am. Sorry. So I'll go back a stop. Let me go back 30 seconds, rewind. There's this tools section. It's going to be its own section where if you click on it, it takes you into tools for different jobs, website development, marketing automation. Anyways, I'm really excited about how we're going to keep it up to date. And like if I put in website development here, we have instant links. It's actually scraping their logos, which I'm pretty proud of. So we're just building out the tech stack on how does AIM just as a feature benefit. It's not the main thing that we do in the academy, but how do we just offer a really great library of tools for different jobs? What is the website link? Academy.jasonpantana.com. Academy.jasonpantana.com. And that's just one of the perks we're building out inside the academy. Anyways, if I could, I'll go back to your question. What am I looking
Yeah,
at right
please.
now? The most exciting thing I'm looking at right now that I'm putting a lot of thought into, well, there's a couple. So one, I've been thinking a lot about podcasting with AI. Specifically, have you checked out the SSML tagging that you can do inside of 11 Labs, Jimmy? Have you seen that?
Yes.
So
Yeah. It's amazing.
it's called speech synthesis markup language. And so just by nodding your heads, how many of you have heard of 11 Labs? A thumbs up or a head nod is good, or a hand. Yep. Okay. 11 Labs, if you haven't heard of it, it's the number 11 spelled out. They are best known for creating voice clones. You can load in a library of yourself talking, and it will whatever audio you put in is what you get out. So if you put in a mixed bag of here's a crappy audio recording, here's a good one, you're going to have an ebb and flow back and forth, very disjointed audio clone. But if you feed it good quality audio recordings of yourself, it will, in about 2 hours, clone your voice. It's called 11 Labs. The number 11 Labs, spelled out, not 1 ELEVEN labs.com. We just did a huge training and a huge focus on how do you create your clones in 11 Labs this past month. But one of the challenges we've seen, and I can show you 11 Labs really quick, if that would be useful.
Yeah.
If I go to 11 Labs, 11 is one of those numbers. I have a hard time spelling that one sometimes. If I go to my app, you just do voice, you do clone your voice is what you would click when you're in here. And I do pay like 20 bucks a month for this because I'm using it. They have like a $5 a month version, but you don't get the pro voice. If you clone your voice, you just click create or clone a voice, and then you can do the instant voice clone, which only needs 10 seconds of your audio, and it creates a okay sounding voice of yours. That's $5 a month. You get one professional voice where I can load in the 2 hours of recorded content of me. It's quite an undertaking. But what you get back is just uncanny you. So if I go to like my text to speech, this is where I can just type anything. So I could say, Jimmy is amazing. I mean, dot, 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 amazing. I could just say that, and it will be my voice, and it will, I haven't tried Alpha 3. That's new. I'll try it next. Hang on. Jimmy is amazing. I mean, amazing. Is that audio coming through?
Yeah, I did.
You heard it? Sounds pretty
Yeah.
close to me, right?
Yeah, it does.
I just got to see what this does. I'll do it later. It's a lot going in here. They added the audio tags, the control delay. Okay, that's what I wanted to get into. So they're building this out. So what I made people aware of, I have a video I'm about to post on Instagram. If you look up 11 Labs controls, they have these tags in here. where you can inject, like, take a break, pause for a half a second. You can inject, put quotes. It tells you pronunciation tags. It tells you how to make it say the words the way you want to say the words. And so I'm really excited about that. But the challenge people are going to run into is they're not going to know how to add those tags. Nobody wants to go line by line in your script and add a bunch of tags. That's absolutely annoying. So what I did is I created the training instructions for a custom GPT. Inside of ChatGPT, you have the ability to create custom GPTs or projects, where basically all you're doing is saying, hey, I'm going to give some standing instructions that whenever I use either this custom GPT or this project, it has to abide by these basic setup instructions. And in those setup instructions, I'm effectively telling it, hey, you can expect anybody who does one of these chats, they're going to want you to make a podcast script out of any topic, and you're going to go ahead and infuse all of these controls and perimeters that 11 Labs supports, so that when we get the script, it's going to have all these tags already put inside of it. And you just copy and paste the whole dumb thing into 11 Labs, and you've got a podcast that sounds like you, but not like a stiff robotic version of you. It literally sounds like you. So that prompt, I did include it inside of the Academy. If you jump into the custom GPT section of the resources, it's solo podcast script generator for 11 Labs. I keep all the resources in here. It explains what it is and how to use it, but these are the actual instructions that you would attach into your into your custom GPT or project inside of ChatGPT. So first thing I'm really excited about is just where voice and speech and video cloning are going right now. HeyGen keeps getting better, but 11 Labs is the one that keeps getting way better. So the voice cloning is getting really good.
Yeah, Jason, I'll tell you, I'll give some people some practical on what we're using like that for is, used to when we were doing specific videos for properties or walkthroughs, and we were having the actual videographer then shoot to, the B-roll to what we were doing. Well, we would type the script out, and then you would read the script and it would sound red, or it would come through and the audio wasn't consistent. And so what we started doing is utilizing it for that, where we would actually take the script, and instead of having the person then do the audio, we've got it fully SEO optimized. We're utilizing it for that. Then we just provide that to the videographer that shoots we do the intro and outro with a video of us, but then the in the middle is doing that. So it's been great doing those things. Let's do this. Let's start from why don't we do this? Let's kind of progress a little bit. We probably got some people on here that really aren't, utilizing AI at the levels that some others are. Let's start from
I just dove into the deep end. So
no, I mean, look, no, that's good. I mean, like, I love it. But I think let's go back and let's kind of work our way up a little more from a standpoint of, like, if there's somebody here that has not fully utilized it, is aware of it, let's start from there, and then let's kind of progress on kind of what you see the typical journey of an agent, if that makes sense, utilizing AI.
Yeah, so where I think I'd start is, let me just open up some new tabs real fast. First is ChatGPT, second is 11 Labs. And so I think in terms of where I use this tool, I really do believe voiceovers, like for video walkthroughs, is a really great use case. I also believe it's a really great use case for podcasting. Those are probably the two biggest I see, is podcasting and voiceovers. And so either way, what you don't want is a stiff version of yourself. And you mentioned audio inconsistencies. I just want to stress this again. If you ever go into 11 Labs and it produces for you a voice, and I was working with one of my clients is Katie Day down in Houston, Texas, and she cloned her voice. And I was listening to it, and the first sentence literally sounded like a different voice or a different microphone. And I was like, what samples did you feed into it? And she said, well, I just grabbed a whole bunch of videos and then stripped the audio and loaded a bunch of samples. I was like, okay, so of all the samples you loaded in, you were in different rooms using different microphones? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, it learned multiple versions of your voice. Your voice clone has a multiple personality disorder voice clone problem. So what's really, really necessary is, I'm sorry, I'm being circled by a gnat. So if I keep darting my eyes, this thing is driving me crazy right now. What's really, really important is when you make a voice clone, what goes in is what comes out. You want to feed it very consistent samples. It should be your voice. It should be the same mic, the same room. Everything should be the same, because that's going to create a really consistent voice clone. It's a lot of work one time, but if you do it right one time, it's done for good. And then it sounds just like you. So let's look at two tools, I think, to start, Jimmy. We'll look at ChatGPT and we'll look at 11 Labs. Where I think 11 Labs serves one purpose. it turns scripts text into recorded words. That is what it does. And you can make it sound like you. Now, it has a couple of bells and whistles that I think are interesting to point out. One, I really do want to look at this new, they've upgraded their model. I haven't tinkered with it, and it looks like it's going to be great. So whatever I show you today, it's probably a then some moment after we're done today. If I look at my little sidebar here, they've got this text to speech, which is the main section where you can, yes, I know it's there. I really do want to get started, but we have to do it later. This is where you can make it read any script with any voice. And it just put in, there's random avatar voices or your own voices. So I've got to get off this model for a second and go back to the old one where I can use my voice because I have not added that model. Why are you not letting me do it? Voice library, top picks for you. All voice, professional clone voices. Here I am. Okay. So one thing to be aware of in 11 Labs is there's already a whole library of voices for reading books or whatever you want, just like stock voices you can use. But what they're best known for is they clone your voice, and then they give you this little text space, like a Microsoft Word document for text, and then it just generates the speech, and then you can download the recording, and it keeps a history of every recording you've ever done. See, if you did one and you liked it better than the next one, you can go back and do it again. Okay. You can control the speed of your voice, the stability of your voice, how similar do you want it. The more you extreme these scales, the more likelihood you're going to generate glitches. And so if sometimes it might sound like the record is skipping on your voice if you've overdone some of these. So I try to keep them a little bit close to the center. That way they're kind of normal and it doesn't over tap the AI's ability. This is the main section, text to speech. It's where you copy and paste any script, a video, voiceover, whatever, and it works through it. The other thing, Jimmy, I wanted to show you is this one called Voice Changer. So what Voice Changer, I could record, like imagine you have a videographer and they're going to do the voiceover, but it's going to be your voice reading it. Theoretically, they could open up your 11 Labs. They could record the script themselves in their own voice, and then they could apply your voice to it, and it would automatically inflect and it would mimic their voice in every way, except that it would change it to your voice. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So that's just a cool little, it's a cool little feature. It's a little hack. Okay. So that's enough about 11 Labs. They've got some other stuff in here that's just pretty awesome. They do great transcription for speech to text. So I can actually reverse it where if I have a video or an audio that I want to transcribe, it does great transcription. They're building out this conversational AI. We don't have to go there. That's like an actual voice assistant that people can talk to. It's pretty awesome. They've got these dubbing studios. Don't worry about that. Their studio products are pretty cool. They want you to make audiobooks. They want you to make podcasts from scratch. This feature for podcasts actually kind of sucks. So the way I do podcasts is in the text to speech section. And the reason it sucks is because it bypasses a need for ChatGPT, where it's not very good at writing at coming up with the actual words. What 11 Labs does is not come up with the words. It just makes the words sound like you. And so I use a different tool for that job. I'd recommend ChatGPT because it's really good at coming up with words. How many of you are using ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All of us. Is everybody on this call paying for like at least their plus $20 a month membership?
Yes.
Okay. How many of you have no idea what a project or custom GPT is? Okay. Jimmy, would it be good if we just talked about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'd love that. Love that.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen again. ChatGPT.com. I'm a plus subscriber, which is the $20 a month. I used to pay for Pro. I don't see the benefits in it yet, so I downgraded because Pro is like $200 a month. It's ridiculous. If I click up on my sidebar, well, let's do a quick little walkthrough. That's my sidebar. This is my new chat button. This is my model selector. ChatGPT is just a chat bot. So think about it as I'm texting with OpenAI. So if Jimmy and I are texting back and forth with each other, the text conversation is not Jimmy. The text conversation is the way Jimmy and I are. It's the space where we're talking to each other. But I'm talking to Jimmy through the chat interface that is a text message. In the same way, you're talking to OpenAI through a chatbot interface. Don't get confused to think that ChatGPT and all of its models is only the equivalent of this back and forth text messaging. This is just the interface that I'm talking to the robot through. Does that make some analogy-like sense? Okay. So I've got these
Absolutely.
model selectors. Um, did Jason say that he doesn't pay for? No, I do pay. I pay for the cheap account. I pay 20 bucks a month, Matt. I pay 20 bucks a month, the plus. I used to pay for Pro, which was $200 a month. And until ChatGPT really gets their operator offer sorted out, I'm not interested. It's just not worth the money, in my opinion. Okay, so under the model selectors, you have all these different models. You can click the little learn more button and it takes you to what the different models are. And these are great descriptions just to know what they do and what they're useful for. But I'll give you my quick little story. 85% of the time, I'm using GPT-4o. It's great for most tasks. I don't want to make your heads hurt. I want you to notice this R word here you keep seeing, reasoning, reasoning, reasoning. There's sort of like a line of demarcation. There's two teams. There are non-reasoning models and there are reasoning models. The biggest difference in a non-reasoning model is it's way faster, you have way higher messaging limits, and it's great for brainstorming and conversation. Reasoning, so ChatGPT 4o is considered a non-reasoning model. Reasoning models do what they say, they reason. And so the biggest difference between a reasoning and a non-reasoning model is when I type a message to ChatGPT and I'm using a reasoning model, it will deploy what's called chain of thought reasoning, where it will spend time trying to analyze and understand what I really meant by my prompt, my message, and then it will think on its own before it responds. Whereas a non-reasoning model responds instantly and intuitively. It's a knee-jerk kind of response. And so one little note to be made aware of is when you're using a non-reasoning model, it's really helpful if you guide its logic. Tell it to think step by step. First do this, then do this, and then do this. You want to guide it because it's not going to use chain of thought reasoning. You want to tell it its own logic. Follow this logic. For example, like this. When you're talking to a reasoning model, you actually don't want to do that. You just want to say, Magic Genie, this is the thing I want. And then let it figure out the path to get you there. And so I typically reserve the use of a reasoning model for I have a question that I don't even know how to guide the logic on it. Hey, how does the moon stay in gravitational pull around the earth? I don't, that's a stupid example, but I just ask a question that I don't know how to guide its logic and I want it to really reason it out for me. Or if I'm giving it a really big assignment, like I want you to write this absolutely SEO optimized blog using best practices. I don't know the best practices, but I'm trusting that you do know the best practices. So in those situations, I don't want to make our heads hurt. I don't want to make this like, oh my gosh, I've been using it all wrong. It's just a little caveat. Bear in mind, so if you're using ChatGPT 4o for complex tasks and you're not happy with the results you're getting, it's probably because you're not guiding the logic of it. Anyways, they have all these different models. You can tinker with them. I would click the models, read more, and learn about those if you're interested. They put their old models down here. This one here is actually their most powerful model, GPT 4.5. They restrict how much you can use it. If you're a plus subscriber, if you're a pro subscriber, you can use it all of freaking time. And so if you're paying 200 bucks a month, you can use it like crazy. It's very good. It's just it's great for writing and exploring ideas. This is more of a hybrid model where it both thinks, reasons, and can respond conversationally. So it's sort of the best all around. It's kind of the Michael Jordan model, if you will. Before I move on, are there any quick questions on models? I don't want to make your heads hurt.
Yeah, this is really good, Jason. Rosalie, have we seen any questions that have come through? I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything that came in.
We're good.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Great.
So you're going to notice just really quick, 03, 04, 04 mini high. The way they deploy these is 03 is actually their most powerful reasoning model because they have not released the full 04. They've released preview versions called 04 mini or 04 mini high. It's like they're not ready to release the big dog yet. And so because of that, 03 is actually your most advanced reasoning model. You would use it if you're doing like code or things along those lines. Anyways, that's just going through ChatGPT. This is for a temporary chat button there. If I click on my face in the top right, I can do tasks, where imagine you say to something, ChatGPT, I want you to remind me every Friday to write a blog post. Well, it will understand that and add it to your tasks, and you can edit your tasks, and it can go do things for you on its own. So I can, for example, tell it to go research this particular web page and then report back to me on what you found. And it will, at a set time, according to whatever schedule you give it, it will complete that task. Pretty cool little feature inside of ChatGPT. They also have what are called my GPTs. I'm going to come back to that last. Customize your ChatGPT. That's really important. What should it call you? It knows my name, but I haven't actually told it to call me anything. I could call me Overlord. I don't know. What do you do? I leave that blank because I use my ChatGPT for a lot of different clients that I work with. And so I don't want to give it too much of a bias to assume it's always serving me. Sometimes it serves my coaching clients, so I leave it blank. What traits should it have? So I do give it some instructions about itself. Anything else ChatGPT should know about you, you can just put it all in there. Enable for new chats. You don't have to do anything here, but you could. That's just to customize your ChatGPT. If you click on settings, there's another section called personalization, where once again, here's custom instructions. There's another way to get back to it. But they also offer memory, where you can allow it to remember things from your chats. I find that half the time the things it chooses to remember are so arbitrary and obscure and random, it's silly. Like it remembers just the dumbest stuff sometimes. But it does come in handy every now and again because it starts to remember your business. And it also has and if you turn on your memory, it can also reference your chat history. So it can actually dig into previous conversations over in your chats and then bring that knowledge or context into whatever the current chat is so that you don't always feel like you're starting over. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Jason,
Yo.
did you do anything as far as, because I've done this and I don't know the effectiveness, I'm really kind of asking this personally, where I came in and said, hey, listen, for future reference, ask me any questions about my business so that you can know more about me, the clients I serve, and the level of service I try to provide. And it asked me series of questions. It came in and said, yes, I am familiar with your business. Here's what I know. And it then asked a series of questions. Have you done any of that, or do you suggest that, or
I think you can do that. So where it gets a little bit foggy for me is I use, and this may be your case too. I use it for different
That was my
businesses,
problem.
different things. And so I actually don't want it to get too hard coded into believing I'm only ever coaching one of my clients or something like that.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
it's a really great, if you're only going to use it for your own business, I think it's a great idea. And what you could even say in that chat is, I want you to remember blank, and it will automatically remember. Like, think about how Siri works. Hey, Siri, I want you to know Linda Pantana is my mom. And then it will, okay, I'll remember that Linda Pantana is your mom. Siri, stop, Siri. It already does that. Um, just for example. Anyways, in the same way, you can tell ChatGPT, I want you to remember blah, blah, blah about my business, and it will store it in its memory. So sometimes it just arbitrarily grabs the things it thinks it should remember. But if you ask it to remember something, it will add it to the memories for you. Does that make
Correct.
sense?
Yes,
And this
absolutely.
is just about sort of setting up your ChatGPT to be more effective for how you're going to use it so that it's quicker to get better outputs and so forth.
Jason, I have a quick question in
Yeah,
chat.
bring it on.
Chris says that he has a plus subscription, but can only create one task, or so it appears. How does he create?
No, he can't create tasks. This is the trick. You don't create tasks from the task section. This is where he can manage tasks that have already been created. I would actually create a task by going into a regular chat and saying something like this. Remind me every Friday to do my gratitudes. I can't spell that word. Gratitudes at 7 a.m. local time. And then it will, okay, I'm going to add it to your tasks. Yes, you can. Add it to my tasks. You can. My ChatGPT has tasks. You're being dumb today, unless they moved it. Okay, great. There, it did it. How annoying is that? So, this is half people's problems. Is
Like a
we
real
tell them they can
assistant.
do things and they're not stubborn enough to push back and tell ChatGPT it's wrong. And then it finally gets it. And so I should be able to go over to my tasks, and then I should refresh, and I should see a new task here. I'm looking for it. Boom, boom, boom. Where it completed, pause. No, I'm not seeing it. Why is that not working? Let's try this one more time. That's interesting. Tasks. Huh.
That's the process, though.
That's the I haven't done it in a while. They used to actually have it as a drop down up here in the conversations. It was tasks, and they took it away. I'm pretty confident I'm right, but that was definitely not working. So maybe we circle back to that at the end.
Great.
Fair enough.
And then,
Yeah.
Rosalie, the other question was, where do I get
The-
the personalizations?
yeah, let's see. Brian asked, can you do it with different projects and tell it that specific project to learn about you? I'm not exactly sure that question's asking.
Can you do it with?
Brian, feel
Oh,
free
I know
to
what he's
jump
asking.
in.
Yes, yes. Actually, that's where I want to go with it.
Yeah, so I wanted to create, I have multiple projects because like you
That's
guys,
where that's what I do as
different
well. That
things.
was my solution. Yeah, we're on
Yeah,
same.
so I would go into each project and basically say, hey, I want you to learn about me for this because I have multiple roles, right?
So let's actually use that as a stepping stone into there's personalization to set up your ChatGPT that is universal and all encompassing across your entire account. Where is that? You go into your settings and then you go into your personalization and you can add customization, custom instructions, and then you can add memory. This section here applies personalization across every chat, everywhere, anything you do in your account. And there can be times where you don't want to do that. And so what you can do is there's two ways to kind of niche personalize an account. One is custom GPTs and the other is projects. Custom GPTs came before projects. They are very confusing because in a lot of ways they do some of the same stuff. And so I'm going to try to go slow on this. If I go to my ChatGPT, my little icon up here, click on my GPTs. This is for paid members, of course. I can create a custom GPT. I've created lots of custom GPTs. For example, I'll just find one. This one is called Deep Market Insight for Video Scripts. And if I click on the pencil, I can edit the GPT. And you can see it's been configured. And it gives you two ways to configure a GPT. You can either, I'll show you the create, which is not the right way, and then the configure. You can give it a little image. You just have Dolly. It makes up its own image. You name it. I named it Deep Market Insight for Video Scripts. I gave it a description. And then I gave it very detailed custom instructions. They are very detailed. I'm going to give you a couple of this gnat, I swear. Gonna go away. I'm going to give you a couple of instructions or ideas here. Do you see this little hash, double hash, the little arrows? So my instructions are written in what's called markup. And so I can't make this text I can't go Command B and make that text bold. So it's just plain text. But sometimes you want it to understand the order of operations. Like this is a heading. This is a bullet point. This is a sub point of that. And you want it to have this hierarchical kind of instruction. And so what this means in markup is title. This means H2 tag. This is a numbered list, and this is a subpoint. So it can actually read this language and understand the structure of my prompt. Now, I don't write in markup. I don't. So the way I do it is I create my instructions, and then I ask ChatGPT to put this in markup for me. And then I just copy and paste that markup over here. If the whole word markup is confusing you, screw it and move on. It's not necessary. It's just a way to convey additional meaning of, oh, this is a heading, and this is a heading, and this is a heading. And it even puts like little section dividers. My prompting style that I often use is called modular prompting, where in modular prompting, you make use of Markdown, and you have lots of different sections. It's almost like how a computer programmer writes code. They write code where there's functions. And if you ever look at a page of code for a computer programmer, it's just function, 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 if this, then that. So that's the first thing. Brian, go ahead, unmute if you want to unmute real quick. I see your hand there.
So are you creating the initial prompt using ChatGPT before you get it?
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay.
So let me answer some other basic questions first. So what is a custom GPT? If you ever find yourself in a position where you keep reusing the same prompt to do the same task repeatedly, that's a pretty good clue that you should make it a custom GPT and save yourself the time of having to recreate the same chat every time. I'm always having to recreate it for writing listing descriptions, for instance. So I can create a custom GPT that adheres to specific instructions about how I want my listing descriptions written. And what's also nice, so I can give it all the instructions on this one here. This one's job is, let me actually find a simpler one. I think I have one for, this is an older one called listing copy. So if I look at this one, these instructions aren't written in Markdown because I didn't write it in Markdown at the time I made this. It's older, but it still works just fine. But I want you to notice, like, it's expecting task 1, you're going to generate photo descriptions for MLS inputs. Task 2, you're going to write a public description, listing description for public syndication. Task 3, I want realtor remarks for the MLS. And so I've given it specific hard-coded instructions about how it's supposed to do those things when I want to do them again. Then beneath that, I can create what are called conversation starters. Notice that the conversation starters are the exact same as the tasks themselves. So I could describe MLS photos, write public listing description remarks, compose realtor remarks. I could even upload knowledge where I give it samples, like I could attach documents where it's like, here's good examples of this. Here's what it looks like in good practice. So that way, whenever I come back to ChatGPT, if I just go to chatgpt.com, and I have 2 ways to engage a custom GPT. The first way is I click my sidebar and I just go find it in my list of GPTs. And it's right over here on the side. The one I'm looking for is listing copy. And then you'll notice it changes the title to listing copy. And then here's I want to describe MLS photos. It says, great, to get started, you can just upload 10 MLS photos here. So what it's doing is it's following the instructions of the first. So describe MLS photos, that parlays with task 1, and it's just following these instructions. So it will initially say, please upload a set of 10 MLS photos, up to 10 at a time. What did it do? Please upload. It's following my instructions. Does that make sense? So now I could just literally, I actually have some old photos of a house somewhere. So I could go into personal, Nashboro. Where's my house? Where's my old house? 2704. 2704 Nashboro. I thought I had photos of my old condo. I can't find them. That's fine. We'll just go grab a random house. Living room interior photo. All right. So I could go grab this Martha Stewart photo. I could copy the image. This is obviously not okay to do. I'm taking an image. And then I could just paste it, and now it's in there. And I don't have to do anything else. I could just submit the image. And this GPT has been trained to use optical recognition to look at that image and then write about it according to my instructions. So the first way you can engage a custom GPT is in the sidebar. The second way is, imagine I just get into a new chat and I'm now no longer using that custom GPT. I could use the @ symbol and I could say @listing copy, and I can actually tag it in any chat. So I could be in the middle of a chat conversation and think, I need my custom GPT. And if I don't want to start a new chat over with just that custom GPT, I could literally tag it in like it's tag team. Tag it in, bring it into the chat, and then it deploys its instructions. I hope that makes sense. So that's a custom GPT.
Yeah, this is great. Hey, Jason, let's get into some marketing, some of the things obviously that you're utilizing and you're seeing agents utilize on some of these things, because that is one of those that I just think I know that there's some people that are wondering, how can I implement some of this stuff as far as the marketing side for my business?
Let me give you one more comparison to these GPTs,
Okay.
just so it's there,
Sure.
and then we'll jump into that. So my GPTs. Then Claude came out with a thing called projects. Projects are basically folders. Imagine being able to store specific conversations. It's almost like a Slack channel where it's these conversations are in this channel. They created projects in Claude, and then ChatGPT was like, oh, that's a good idea. We should do that too. And so they created projects. And if I look over here on my sidebar, I have projects. And what you could theoretically do is you could create a project called health and fitness. And I could feed it all kinds of information about my health and fitness. So that any chats within that project automatically have access to that information. I could create a project called coaching, and I could feed it a bunch of information about my clients. And so whenever I'm having chats about their businesses, it stays within the domains of that specific niche. Mine is podcast scripts, YouTube scripts, AIM resources. I have a bunch of these things here. So this is one I made the other day called podcast scripts, where I'm going to click on, I can click it open here. And what you see is I can have a chat. I can just have a chat within it. These are other chats that are already in it that I did already. And then it allows you to add files. Chats in this project can access file content. So maybe you have examples or samples that you want to feed to it that are going to help it understand sort of the mark you're looking to achieve every time. And it also allows you to put in, just like a custom GPT, instructions. I got to be honest, I treat my custom GPTs and projects almost identical to each other. They're really no different. I have found myself more often creating projects than custom GPTs, just because the idea of having chats in a specific project folder just makes more sense to me. And so basically what you do in the instructions is you give it the standing prompt. This is the way any chat in this project is supposed to obey and follow instructions. So that's about that. Did you cover customization? I did cover that earlier on. Yes. Okay. So Jimmy, do you want to move on into?
Yeah, and just so that you guys know, because I mean, some of this stuff, obviously, this is going to take you a couple times to review this. We'll have this video available, probably edited in the next week or so, and we'll have it available for everybody as well
So
to go back to pause.
Yeah, and right now there's some people out there talking about custom GPTs have gotten popular over the last couple of weeks in the real estate industry, and they're being talked about like there's some magic new thing. They're not new, and a lot of the way people are talking about them is actually a misnomer for how they best function. A custom GPT is whenever you find yourself doing a repeated marketing task or any kind of a task where you keep, maybe you store a prompt that you love in your Apple Notes and you keep copying and pasting it back into this to a new conversation. That is the trigger that says I should make a custom GPT out of that prompt. Does that make sense to everybody?
Absolutely.
So here's a question I want to pose to the group. What are some routine conversations you keep having over and over and over again with ChatGPT? Put it in the chat or just unmute and tell me. I'm waiting.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I can show you something too. I'll pull the curtain back a little bit while we're waiting on those. While people are putting that in, I'm going to just share this real quick and I'll just kind of show you. So all of you kind of get the reminder emails on Friday mornings for these masterminds. Yep. This was the first one I did, just to give you a real super easy, practical thing. I'm doing a mastermind with Jimmy Mack, and this was from a few weeks ago. This started this, what the most effective marketing real estate agents are doing for generating listings right now. The mastermind will include examples from agents' time Q&A. And you put together an email reminder. So some of you got that email. Well, then once I had that started, I mean, this is just a chat. So great. Can you format this where I can copy and paste into a constant contact email? It did it for me. Then literally this morning, those of you that got the email this morning, I want to just kind of show you this, just so you kind of get it. I've already got this chat going. I said, the one I'm doing today is with Jason Pantana on how real estate agents can utilize AI in marketing their real estate business so they can help more. Literally, if you guys noticed, it was just copy and paste. So these are some communication tools, just super easy, practical. If you're wondering kind of how, when Jason's asking, emails, I'm doing this every Friday. So now I've got this basically set up where I'm just basically asking it to continue to make the adjustments. I'll let you take it from here.
I have similar applications. So I'm looking at so I see listing descriptions, social scripts, market reports, creating shorts for YouTube, social ideas, market updates, newsletter text, converting flyer wording into a flowing text, weekly business reports, and then points of interest that are in important buyer. Okay. So of these, sort of the two common answers were listing copy and market updates. Would it be useful if we built one of those together? And we will go through the act of creating the GPT, creating the instructions, and we'll do it in the next 15 minutes. Would that be useful?
Love it. Love it.
Which one do you want to do? Market updates or listing copy? And the one caveat about market updates is, do we want a market update video script? What do we actually want in terms of the output it's going to produce for us? What do y'all think?
Love it. Answers coming in.
So I see market update email newsletter. Okay.
Yep.
And then I see script and data with stats, video. I think for the purposes of this being ChatGPT, it's going to be easier. Let's do an email. We're going to write the email copy for a market update. How does that sound for everybody?
Perfect. And Jason, then at the end, it's really easy just to say, hey, convert this into a script for me, correct? I mean, after that,
Absolutely. But
Yeah,
what I would do is I would actually create a second GPT that does that for you, because a
Perfect.
GPT does one thing. It's a recurring task. You have no limit on how many you can have. So you might as well make it do the one thing remarkably well. So here's the way I'm going to build this. First, I'm just going to open up ChatGPT. Actually, I'm going to do it on my desktop app. It'll be easier. And we're going to just have a conversation with it, okay? Hey, I need you to help me create some training instructions, ideally for a custom GPT within ChatGPT. And what I want the training instructions to do in terms of the function of this GPT is whenever a user starts a chat with it, they should be prompted with a few questions. The first question should be, what area do you want to make the market update for? The second question is, do you want to attach any data that I should reference in my analysis? And the third question should be, what should the third question be? What do y'all think? What does it need to know to get this thing done right?
The time frame of the data.
I'm going to tell it to look at the data itself to infer that.
Okay.
Really, it just, honestly, it doesn't need anything. I'm going to go back. I'm going to scratch this. Okay. I'm going to scratch it. Watch this. You're going to help me create custom GPT training instructions. The purpose of this GPT will be to take MLS data that will be loaded into a new chat and to automatically create the copy for an email newsletter. When a user starts a chat, you can expect they just start a chat, or you can expect they might attach their data out of the gate. Before you begin to write the copy, you need to clarify their intent, specifically asking them, who is the target audience for this email, so you can make sure it's written to their benefit. It may be homeowners, it may be sellers, it may be buyers, it may be downsizers, it could be any kind of an audience. In terms of the instructions I want to include in this, and I'm going to trust your judgment in terms of getting this in the right logical order, you should expect to receive some kind of a CSV or a spreadsheet of MLS data. Your job will be to analyze that data. You're going to look at the column header rows to figure out what the data likely means. You're going to look at date ranges to infer what time frame is this data coming from. You're going to look in the data to see what area it's coming from. You're going to infer all of that based upon the data. Before you actually produce the copy, you're going to respond to the user and say, I've analyzed your data, and here's what I've inferred about the location, about the time frame, and other key areas that need to be confirmed to make sure you looked at the data right. And then once the user confirms that's good to go, you're going to then make an analysis that suits their goals. Now, remember, they've already told you if they want to make this for sellers or buyers or whatever. So your copy is going to be written to that bend. The newsletter should begin with a personalized merge tag salutation. It should be like hi first name tag, something like that, comma. And then you're going to write an opening insight. The first paragraph should begin with a very intriguing statement that is sort of the hypothesis or thesis of what you've observed in the market data that is going to really capture the interest and intent of that audience. It should then have a line break and then go into a breakdown, maybe 2 or 3 sentences of what's going on in the data. And then after that, it should get into another 2 or 3 sentences about what it means for that respective person, whoever's being targeted by the email. And then it should include sort of a PS postscript call to action that is relevant to that specific audience. You should use your own judgment as to what that would be. It might be a consultation or a phone call. If you have questions, just reply to the email. I want to see you write this in the form of training instructions that would be very easily understood by any ChatGPT session, so it can perform these tasks in this order with this logic flawlessly every time. All right, give it a second. That was a long transcription.
Yeah.
That was great. I mean, from a standpoint, that just gives you an idea. Obviously, Jason is just flowing from the ideas there. If you need to adjust these things as you're going along, Jason, I mean, obviously, because that was straight through. Once you get this back, you can make those adjustments, obviously. And but you're noticing this. And for those of you that are wanting something, look, we'll have this. You'll be able to copy and paste this.
I'll give it all to Jimmy.
Yeah, it'd be great. We'll get those back. Just send me an email and I'll forward that stuff to you.
So what's interesting is it wrote it in Markdown for me. I didn't ask it to. It likely inferred that because I always ask it to, and it has memory about me. I was going to ask it to put it in Markdown after the fact. It just beat me to the punch. So that was a yay. It already did it. So I want to read through it. Custom GPT training instructions, MLS data to email newsletter. Purpose, this GPT transforms upload MLS data into a CSV. Okay, I want to just, I need you to add a section about accuracy and standards. It must not manipulate, exaggerate, change, alter, amend, append the data. It must base its insights only on the data, and it's looking for data that would be compelling or useful to the intended audience that is specified by the user. I need a section for that. And then I need another section that says, don't violate any laws. The real estate agents who will be using this, your users, are likely subject to real estate commission laws, to their specific state in the United States, to the Realtor Code of Ethics, to fair housing laws in USA, and other federal mandates, RESPA, for instance. So I need you to include another section that really hits those things so we don't get ourselves in hot water.
Hey, while we're waiting on this, does anybody else feel like they're watching Michelangelo paint? I mean, this is like, I mean, come on. This is ridiculous, Jason. This is like,
this is how I work. This is why I build stuff and then I put it inside of AIM for people. So this will be an AIM by the end of the day for everybody. Anyway.
Yeah. This is awesome.
All right, I want to look at it. Purpose. Well written. This is hard to read in here. Let me just put this in text edit really quick. Sorry, I just want to put in a document so I can read it easier. All right. The output should serve the strategic marketing needs of the risk professionals. Trigger context. User may begin by simply starting a new chat. A user may upload their MLS data to start a chat session. Workflow and logic. Step 1, clarify intent. Before performing any tasks, ask the user who is the intended audience for his email, homeowners, buyers, blah, blah, blah. Save this audience input and use it to shape all later messaging. Step 2, analyze the data. Upon receiving identified days on market, zip, list date, blah, blah. Infer time frame, geographic focus, listing type, and status trends, other relevant stats, median prices, blah, 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 blah. Confirm inference with user. Before drafting copy, respond. Here's what I've learned from the MLS data. Please confirm your location, time frame, list, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Wait for user to confirm proceeding. Once the newsletter copy confirmation received, salutation, hi name, opening paragraph, okay. Line break, breakdown, add 2-3 sentences, summarizing precious, what it means, 2-3 sentences, great, why it matters, okay. Postscript, call to action, PS, close the tailor to DA, about selling, this could be the moment, blah, 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 buyers, you want to have it right, just reply away, good. Accuracy, you could also add a section here about the way you want it to write. So like I could add, hey, I don't want to sound puffy. I don't want to sound too salesy. You could add a section if you wanted to. Remember, I talk about modular prompting. So I'm thinking about these as sections. Anytime you see one of these headings like workflow and logic as a section, and then you see these three hashes mean this is a sub point underneath that workflow and logic. Trigger context is a section. Purpose is a section. You can start to understand how the markdown divides it into sections. Accuracy, standards.
Jason, one thing I want to add to this also is it's just like anytime we're talking about anything, the first time you do something, it's not going to sound like what Jason just did. You have to understand that he's been doing this consistently. The great thing about this is that this is easy and free to start working on. Another thing that I want you to note is that Jason utilized, it's called ChatGPT. It's not WriteGPT.
Right.
And so you notice that he utilized the chat portion to be able to do the instructions. I don't know about y'all, but it's easier for me if I'm talking to Jason and I'm trying to communicate. It's way easier and more efficient on my time to be able to talk and tell Jason what I'm trying to do instead of trying to type out what I'm trying to do. So don't be afraid to utilize the chat portion like you're seeing Jason doing. And just play with this. Do these things. This is what he's doing right now is a master class in how to do it. But believe me, start with even some smaller things and then utilize these to just expand as he's done. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good changes. Apply them all. And I'd also like to add another section for writing style. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I don't. We don't have time to do that. You should, but we can do it later.
Yeah.
I just want to get this. I want to get it to do it all. So it's going to fix it all here in the canvas for me. Hopefully. Well, it's doing something. Oh, I'm scrolled. I was like, what is going on? I was scrolled over to the right. I was like, where is the text? Okay. All right. I click copy. I'm now leaving here. We're going to go into, you have a choice. You could either do a project or you could do a custom GPT. I would honestly choose a project. And here's my reason why. Sometimes the custom GPTs don't get access to the latest models. And so they're actually writing from maybe not 4.0, but 4.1 or something like that. Or they're using an older version of the model. So I tend to prefer the projects over the, so I'm going to do a new project and I would call this one market, update, email, copy, create project. And what would be really cool is after you get a good one, you can go in and add a sample, like take a Word document, put the good copy in there, give it a few and say and then in the instructions, you could say, I've added files that are useful for examples. So whatever files you put in here, you just point to those files in your instructions. Now, one thing I try to remember is I'm likely working with their 4.0 model. It's a non-reasoning model, which means, you see the question I asked it? Did we put the logic in the right order? And it said, no, actually, you should put this up to the top. And so it switched it because I want to make sure the order of information I'm presenting to the robot is in the right order to get the best output. I didn't have to decide what that order was. I just asked it to tell me what the order was. I'm just curious. So I've got my instructions. I'm going to just paste them here. I don't need that last little line there. Save. And then I think we can test it. So we'll just do a chat, and then I'm going to just go to my MLS really quick. Actually, I think I downloaded some data yesterday. I'm just going to use, no, I deleted it. So I'm going to go to RealTracks. I'm going to sign in. I'm going to click on search. This is just my MLS. I live in Nashville. Residential, site-built homes. I'm going to look at homes that have been expired, canceled, closed in the past 6 months because we're at about the halfway year mark. That'll be easy. I'm going to look in the Williamson County. I'm going to look in the Franklin, Tennessee city. And I think that will be sufficient information. It's going to tell me there's too many listings to view at once. And then I'm going to just download everything to a spreadsheet. I have no idea how your MLS works. They all work different. Sorry. You going to do it, RealTracks? Thank you. All right, I'm going to download all results to, I want all the data. I want everything to a spreadsheet. Download. And then we're going to jump back over to, this is going to take a second, I guess. There it goes. I'm in listing copy. No, that's wrong. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I don't need that tab. I need this tab. I'm in my market update email copy project. And all I'm going to do to start a chat, now that I've got my instructions in here, is go to my download, just drag and drop like that. It attaches it. I'll say, need an email copy for this. And it sees the data and it followed instructions. Who's the intended audience for this? I want to appeal to homeowners who may be on the fence about listing and selling their homes. Specifically, those with strong equity who are maybe attached at the hip to their low interest rate. Please don't talk like this to them in your email. I'm just giving you context. I'm saying that because I haven't told it how to write in my instructions, and I probably should have. So I'm open. It's potentially malleable in that way. All right, so it's confirming the data. Whoa, no. Did you look at the spreadsheet? It's looking at data from one of my clients, Dave Archuleta. So I don't know where I dragged that up. That's a okay, that's much better. Late 2024 to early 2025. Good. All right, go for it. What today's market is quietly rewarding. That's interesting. Hi, Jimmy. In Franklin, something's happening that isn't making headlines, but it should. Homes are well prepped. Homes that are well prepped and well priced are selling fast and strong, and yet a surprising number of listings are quietly expiring, canceling, or getting withdrawn. Often after just a few weeks, and it's not due to lack of demand, it's hesitation. Ooh, that's an interesting angle.
Yeah.
Over the past month, we saw dozens of homes come off the market without a sale, even in sought after neighborhoods, blah, blah, blah. So what's crazy is like, watch what I could do, and then I think we'll wrap after this. So I could do a new, there's that chat right here. I could do a new one. I could pop back over to my MLS. I could do a new search. I could change it to Brentwood, Tennessee. And it will redo a newsletter. And then I could download my data, all fields to a spreadsheet, download. Then I could jump over to my chat. I could drag and drop my new data. Boom. Say go time. And it will follow its instructions. Go away, Nat. Man, that thing is just a thing. It won't leave me alone today. Because I have these lights and it's just in heaven right now with my lights.
It goes back to Archuleta stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I got to figure out why. Okay. It must be stored in, I have a feeling I know what the problem is. Let's actually use that as a teachable moment. We're going to go to ChatGPT. We're going to go to customize ChatGPT. We're going to, sorry, settings. We're going to go to personalization. We're going to go to manage memory, and we're going to see if it remembers Rancho Mission Viejo in here. Yes, it does. Delete. Forget. Okay. So it grabbed on to some random memory in some chat at some type that I told you, I prepared you for that. And it's hard. And those memories are in all projects, all custom GPTs, in everything. So you want to be careful about what you allow into the all-encompassing customization and personalization of your ChatGPT. Okay. That's not the data I uploaded. Now, another note I would say is I would probably add another logic step in my instructions to say, you must triple check the data before you go to this step, because it's clearly not actually looking at the data. And so I would instruct it differently. In fact, if I go look at my instructions while it's working in the background, let's go workflow and logic. Step 2 is analyze the uploaded data. It's not doing something here right. So I would want to tinker with that. I mean, I can get there. Boom. Okay. I want to focus on buyers, specifically new construction. And then let's let it go. It's analyzing. You have the instructions, Jimmy.
Perfect. Everybody, I'll just email me. I'll forward that to you, or I will send this out with that data.
All right, so we're focusing on, there's some changes you're going to want to make to it, I think. Like we saw it's not done. It needs your writing style, and it's clearly tripping over its own feet and not going to the data like it should. If you are inside of AI Marketing Academy, it will be right by the time you get it there. So,
hey, speaking of that, Jason, I don't want to get off of this before I wanted. I mean, look, if you're going through this, and look, the first time Jason and I really talked a lot about this, I was like, Jason, man, this is incredible. I don't know that I have the time to go do this. This is why I love leaning in with you. And that's where the AI Marketing Academy has been super helpful for me, because a lot of it is copy and paste, and the training is there on a consistent basis every week. Can you just share a little bit about, I know there are people interested, if you don't mind.
And then all I wanted to show you here was, look, it worked again. So it's like, now I have a template that I can rinse and repeat with email newsletters, just making a project. That's what those are for. So AI Marketing Academy is a co-venture between Tom Ferry and me. We kicked it off in January, and we initially launched AI Marketing Academy last year as a 4-week virtual boot camp. And we just kept noticing people came back. Like 3 months later, they were back. 3 months later, they were back. And we started talking to our members and being like, hey, you keep retaking the course. Well, they're like, the course keeps changing. It keeps evolving. There's new stuff we want to know. given the explosive nature of AI. And so toward the end of last year, Tom and I decided we were going to launch it as a membership training platform versus as a course. And so the way that it's structured is inside of AI Marketing Academy and your membership, you can either have a monthly plan or an annual plan, whatever you want. You save some money with annual because it's like 2 months off if you buy the annual package. But when you get into your membership, there are hard-coded courses. For example, we have a course called AIM Essentials, and that is a 0 to 60, get you up and running with AI. If you're somebody who's very new to AI and you need some help with just the beginning 101 level stuff, we have that in there for you as sort of an accelerator. It's part of your membership. But the bread and butter of the membership is every month we tackle a specific topic. And we teach how to apply AI to your marketing. So I call it AI-ifying your marketing. In the month of January, and by the way, if you sign up today, you'll have access to everything that's ever been. It's not like you get access to what starts today. You get access to everything, period. And you get access, as long as you're a member, it's all yours forever. Any prompt I ever make, any video I ever record, anything I ever do, it all goes in there organized for you. So we do these things called sessions every month where we tackle a specific marketing topic. For example, in January, we talked about creating what are called Claude artifacts. I'm not going to explain that right now. In February, we talked about using AI for video editing to speed up video editing. In March, we talked about podcasting with AI and all the voice tags and all that stuff. In April, we talked about how do you get your business optimized to rank when buyers and sellers look you up on ChatGPT. And then this past month in May, we talked about creating voice and video clones of yourself, specifically for making YouTube videos. And so there's always a topic. We're going to pivot this month. This is a new month. We're doing something new in June. So in June, instead of having one focus, we're actually going to have 2 learning tracks. Now you'll have access to both of them. We've started realizing there are people who are more like senior level AI users and then entry level AI users. And so we're going to have 2 tracks, AI rookies, AI rock stars. And I'm going to create a training that's for the rookies and a training that's for the rock stars. You can watch both totally fine. But every month we have that specific training that teaches you how to execute that part of your marketing with AI. And then we have live labs. The live lab is a Zoom session where after you've watched the videos, we get together. It's like this, where we ask questions, we demonstrate what we're doing right now. I do it with my members every month, just for members. And then we're going to add another feature called a lounge. So the lounge is going to be just a Q&A, anything goes, I need help here, whatever you want. And so it's designed to be a perpetual AI-fication of your marketing to help you apply AI, not just learn about geek terms. The website is academy.jasonpantana.com, and we are offering a promo right now. If you want half off, whether it's your annual membership or your monthly membership, when you get to the checkout code spot, you'll just click the big fat Join Now button. You follow the steps. You get to a checkout page where it wants your credit card. Before you submit your credit card, there's a promo field. If you enter AIM50 off, it's all one word, AIM 50 off, OFF. If you enter AIM50 off and then you tap apply, it attaches that coupon to your bill and your bill gets cut by 50%. And it's not just the first month or the first year, it's for life. So it's every month as long as you're in. It's every year as long as you're in, 50% off forever. The retail rate is $199. So it's $99.50. The retail yearly rate is $1,997. So it's $998.50. It's half off for life, whichever one you do. It's academy.jasonpantana.com and just aim 50 off and it's half off.
Yeah, and listen, there's no way that if you're utilizing this, it's not going to create efficiencies and generate more business for you. So, I mean, it's been one of those for me. And just nobody's doing it better than you. I really appreciate this.
So wait till you see the training we're going to do this month. So what if I told you I could not only have AI write the email, but I could actually have AI code the email so that it has my colors, fonts, and everything in it, and automatically send the email for me without ever leaving my chat? Would you be interested?
Yes. Yeah. This is where it's getting fun too, as far as the efficiency.
I know.
This is what we're talking about. I mean, literally, it is. I mean, there's some items that I have been utilizing it for that I would have had to pay, a virtual assistant thousands and thousands of dollars for monthly tasks. I mean, it is literally just
It's a time saver and a money saver for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And man, from the standpoint of the marketing side, just getting us more opportunities to be in front of those clients, it has been tremendous. Right. Listen, I'll be cognizant of your time, Jason. I really appreciate it. Cognizant of everybody's time. Anybody, you want to hang around, I'll be around, but thank you, Jason. Appreciate everything, brother.
Thank you so much.
And,
bye, everybody.
I'll catch up with you soon, okay?
Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.